Hi guys, Phoenix Spring Tarot. So yes, I'm back. I've been off for a couple of months. I've been doing all things spiritually activating, spiritual initiations, upgrading, spiritual gifts coming online and so on. So I just needed to take an extended time off to do all of that, but now I'm back. And I am back, of course, with yours truly, Candace Owens and the Macrons. So back in August last year, and I'll put a link to the reading that I did on that. I did a reading on Candace Owens and her when she first initially put out these allegations about Macrons. So I did a reading on it back then, and you could see the reading and everything we covered. We covered whether the allegations were true. We did all of that in that reading last year. Fast forward again, we're in August 2025, and the Macrons have decided to move forward with a defamation lawsuit. Now, we are not a legal channel. We are just a spiritual channel looking at the energies around this. So I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of the defamation lawsuit. But I would say is what they need to prove, my understanding and the understanding on which we're going to base this reading, is that Candace Owens, in order for the Macrons to win this defamation lawsuit, they need to prove that Candace Owens has made intentionally, knowingly made false claims, and she has made it with the intention of malice, is my understanding, and also made it, and also from her making these repeated claims, and if it's done from the intention of actual malice, they need to prove that her putting out these claims has caused them reputational damage, has caused them personal distress. So they need to prove this. Okay, so that's my understanding of this. So let's get into this reading. I don't have any messages from my spirit guides per se. I don't even fully know what questions I'm going to ask. I will ask them as they come up in this reading. Okay. So, Spirit Guides, God, and angels of the highest divine light, of the highest frequency, please protect myself, please protect and bless those viewing this reading. May we only channel messages of the highest truth, of the highest accuracy regarding this situation. Why is this situation happening? Hang on, let me write down this question. Why is this situation happening? What is it that us as a collective need to know? Like, why are we observing this? Okay. Sorry, as I'm shuffling, they're just giving me two questions. Yes, please protect myself. Please protect and bless those viewing this reading. Maybe only channel messages of the highest divine light, of the highest truth, providing insight into the situation. Why are we as a collective observing this situation? How is this meant to elevate and expand our collective awareness? Letting us know that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so there's certain cards that we have out to start. We have a King of Pentacles energy, we have a Seven of Swords energy, and we have a Four of Swords energy. I'm just going to park this, like this is not going to be the whole reading, but they want me to deliver this message here before I go into the actual reading. Candace Owens did say this, in that I don't think that this is the Macrons per se. I think this is the company or the person that they've hired. Correct me if I'm wrong, the name of the company they've hired is, I should have gotten this, my apologies. I always do this. I still haven't learned, even after I've taken a year off. What's the name of the law firm? Whoever they've hired, it's that person or the person at the law firm. It's like they are going through unscrupulous means. There's something that's underhanded or unscrupulous. Oh, by the way, all messages are alleged until proven fact, and we are not delivering any of these in any bad faith or anything like that. I think from my perspective, there's a morality issue when it comes to this, in terms of you being the head of state and you being put in a position of power. And what I'm looking at this from is, in the past, before this defamation case, this is not the first defamation case or the first lawsuit that they've brought regarding Bridgette Macron's gender and sexuality, mind you. Others have been brought, and they've sort of used their position of power to intimidate people. Like that, to me, from what I've heard allegedly. So that to me is a cause of concern, not whether she is male, female, or transgender or whatever, right? So I'm just saying that, okay? So we would also look at that as well, whether there is an abuse of power. Okay, so let's get into this. This is related to the law firm. And I think they have a strategy which they're putting out there against Candace, and they have money to burn when it comes to the strategy against her. And what they're telling to me is it's going to be interesting to see whether Candace's reputation, whether Candace's integrity could withstand what is going to be coming their way against. I'm not saying the Macrons are specifically directing this legal firm to engage in underhanded means, but when Candace says, oh yeah, they have a private investigator against me, they have this, they have that, that's what is being represented here. But there is something that's really, really significant about that in terms of what they're able to dig up about her or what they're going to be alleging. Like this could get potentially really dirty. Okay, so we have done that. Let's go into the energies around the situation. So Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels, thank you for those messages so far. Let's look into what the current situation is and then ask further questions from there. I think Candace has mentioned that they've tried to pay her off as well. Like they've tried to pay her off. I'm seeing that. They're still trying to do that behind the scenes. Like there's some negotiations, there's some payoff happening behind the scenes here. I would not be surprised if in a few months' time, would this go to court? Because okay. Okay, I think it would. This may be a past energy that I'm observing here. That there is something about trying to convince someone to not go ahead with this. I'm picking up two male representatives, so it'd be interesting to see whether Candace's legal representation is male. I don't know. I know the Macrons, I believe it's male. I did see a male guy speaking on behalf of the legal company, the Delaware or wherever the lawsuit's being brought. So these represent lawyers, they represent legal and in front of the world. So it's a matter of, yeah, I could see this case going out in front of the world, but there are certain... It's not clear cut. It's like each team are trying to bait the other to see how far the other would go. If you see what I mean, there is something about that. It's like calling someone's bluff, is what I'm seeing here. This is the first time, there's no precedence for this. This is the first time that a head of state has decided to take a podcaster. As Candace Owen said, I'm just a mom of three sitting in her home, the basement of her home, doing an investigation or reporting. Like, this is the first time we've seen anything of this nature. And it's the implications of this for freedom of speech as well. There is something of a hastiness with which this was. What I'm picking up with the Macrons deciding to bring forward this case is that there's something. It's not a matter that they acted in haste or anything like that, but by them bringing this case forward, they misplayed their hand. Like they didn't need to bring this forward. If they hadn't brought this forward, chances are, I think this would have petered out. Everyone would have been going on about it and eventually would have petered out. However, what's with this Knight of Wands, what's happened instead is that they allowed it to get to them. And I think they really underestimated, this is Candace, they really underestimated her. Like Candace is confident in her truth. She's confident in her position. She's confident in what she says. There is something about Candace that's also coming through here in terms of, like, when someone, and this is a spiritual reading, by the way, right? I'm not doing commentary here like any of the other channels. I'm doing this from a spiritual energy perspective. So bear that in mind. So when we're watching this high priestess and we're looking at it with Candace, when Candace talks about her spirituality, when Candace talks about God, when Candace talks about Christ as King, like she walks it and she means it, basically. So if someone like, like Candace said, or like they have private investigators after her and all that sort of stuff. So when Candace is saying that and people are trying to dredge up stuff on her, there is something almost like a divine protection she has. There is something about speaking truth and standing in that truth and standing in the light, they're telling me, of your truth, which she believes and which she is channeling to protect her from darkness. Like, that's how I'm describing the image that they're showing to me. So that's why Candace is standing so steadfastly in her truth. Number two, with this high priestess talks about particularly things going on behind the scenes. Like, they're drawing me to this, like we're seeing pomegranates and so on, but there are things hiding behind that. Like, and it's drawing me, like what Candace is doing, she's walking that line between the darkness and the light. Like, they're showing me this, like it's something of stuff that's behind the veil and stuff that's happening that she would not be intimidated by, is the phrase that they're also giving to me. Anything else? Sorry, there's just one more thing. And there is something about her, and I think Candace has come out and said this herself, with this high priestess energy and her being that mouthpiece, it's as if she really has that conviction in her heart that this is a bigger issue than her. This issue is something bigger than her, and the implications of it are bigger than her. And that's why she's going ahead with this. There are other people who wants to come out and who are happy that this lawsuit. That's another thing that is coming up with this Knight of Wands. There are a few things that the Macrons haven't thought through, which is by them going and wanting this, and getting this lawyer and making this lawsuit and making this claim and everything else. It's something about the Macrons getting their ducks in a row beforehand. Like, there are people who can potentially come out and corroborate Candace's story, or not Candace's story, or what Candace has put forward, people that Candace has based her research on. And it's as if, allegedly, these people are being put in line, or they are being intimidated. Or I wouldn't be surprised if one of them may come out recanting their story, for instance. Like, there is something that allegedly either the Macrons directly or their law firm have put in place before releasing this lawsuit to ensure that they stand a chance. Like, these are people who want to come out and speak, and there's someone there pushing them back in, right? And this comes back to the Seven of Swords energy. This is an underhanded energy, the Seven of Swords. So this is what I'm saying about the dirty tactics allegedly being played. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So thank you for that. What else could we see? In terms of the Macrons and Brigitte Macron and whatever there is, that I answered and addressed that in my previous reading, which I will display. I don't think I'll be going into that in this reading here, but whether the allegations are true or not, I've done that in my previous reading. Spirit guides, guardian angels, thank you for that. What else could we say? What else could we say? I think they may very well have a case to prove damage, particularly reputational damage, and the cost of that being head of state. I think they may have enough to prove that. What another message that my guides are giving me here is that it's not going to be enough to prove the Macrons partly have a case and they don't. They have a case in proving the effect and the impact this has had on them. Like, they're showing me this here. There is a case in terms of that. Yeah, they're confirming that. Like, there is a case in terms of that. We have a King of Wands energy here. And the way that could, I'm seeing with the Ten of Cups, the way that could impact, Ten of Cups is talking about happiness and the way you feel and your emotions. So it's looking at how that has impacted you personally, how it impacts your mental health, for instance, how it impacts a number of things, Yeah. So there is something about that. So, like, part of it is true. But is this going to trial? Let me just... We're going to look at whether this is going to trial, and is this going to trial? Is this going to trial? Ooh. At the point of doing this reading, it's like they're gearing up for it, and very last minute, something may happen. It's not clear with the Seven of Cups what that something is just yet. There is still very much the likelihood of this just quietly going away. Like, I am seeing an arrangement where Candace agrees not to speak about it anymore, or she agrees to dial it back, and but she doesn't retract. That's the thing. Like, she doesn't retract, but she agrees to dial it back, and it peters into nothing. There is one team that wouldn't mind if that happens. And they're giving me that team is the Macrons. Okay. They're telling me, let's go into whether the allegations are true. Even though I did a reading on this before, they're telling me to do it again. So let's go into that. Are the allegations true? Are the allegations against Brigitte Macron true? You know, it's so funny. I was seeing on my the discovery page of my channel that someone put Brigitte Macron's face in addition to a picture of her brother into ChatGPT and asked whether it's the same person, that ChatGPT said yes. ChatGPT is so messy. But let's see, are the allegations that Candace Owens are making, are the allegations true? This is, you know what's freaky about this? Yeah, I have to revisit that first reading I did. I don't really usually revisit my readings, but what this is saying to me is that there is something being hidden to give an impression of a particular way of being to the world. That is coming through loud and clear. Let me just get another deck. Are the allegations true? Are the allegations true? We look at whether the allegations are true, and then we look at the outcome of this. Well, that kind of answered. At this point, I'll be surprised if this goes to court. Like, going to court is going to cause the Macrons, more damage than it's worth. Like, this is the thing with conspiracy theories. It's just, I just wanted to get a different deck because this deck is a bit hot. So, yeah, I keep on star. And I keep on getting a lot of two energy. Like, we have two with the High Priestess, we have two with the Pentacles, we have two with the Wands, we have two with the Cups. We have all of the twos, basically. We have the Six of Cups, which is childhood. Again, we have two. It's like there is something with the brother and Brigitte now, who is Brigitte now, and there's something with the Four of Swords, with the sword being laid on, something being hidden. And with the star, like the naked woman in the star, it's like someone feeling that, and with the star energy, with the core of their being, they feel that they are something. They're giving it to me. It's like there is something they can't help but being. It's the core essence of who they are. And again, we have the magician energy. You know, we rather dazzle you. You know, I would make out that I am, we'll sort of pull the wool over everyone's eyes, and I would hide my true nature. We have the magician energy. I would play happy families. We have the Ten of Cups. You know, again, I did this before, I've done it again. This is what my cards are saying. The allegations are true. However, not because the allegations are true means you could actually win the case. This is the other thing. So let's get into that. Allegedly. But again, I called it last year, August. I'm calling it again this year. Let's see whether this case can, what's going to be the outcome of this legal case. Outcome of the legal case. We're going to have, I think I may need to do a particular. Someone's regretting it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Macrons aren't regretting it already. Hang on. Outcome of the legal case. We're going to have Candace on this side, the Macrons on that side. We're going to cut the stack in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Candace Macron. Four of Cups. The Hermit. 8 of Pentacles in the middle. Can they work out a deal? The Lovers. Again, it's that 2 energy. We had the Two of Cups here. We have the Lovers here. It's ongoing with this 2 energy. 2 is talking about duality. 2 is talking about being 2 things at the same time. You present yourself as 2 things at the same time, right? We have that 4 of Swords again. This 4 of Swords is coming up under Candace's side now. We have the 5 of Wands. The outcome of this case does not look good for Candace. It's something about... Let's go into why this doesn't look good for her. Guys, do you see the 7 of Swords is coming up on her side again? There is something about the dirty tactics that are allegedly, it's either by the Macrons or by the law firm or whoever it is, that can either something that's missed, something that's been seen, something that's been overlooked, that's not going to work out really in Candace's favor. And there's something about cutting ties or cutting something loose or something that can potentially happen. We have this Page of Swords again. We had the Page of, like, look, we have the 4 of Swords. We have the 4 of Swords up there. We did have a Page of Swords before that came up as well. Okay, I can't find it right now. Oh, probably was in this deck. I can't find it right now. There is something about a dirty... They sing this in my ear like a dirty tricks campaign or like a dirty campaign or something to sully someone's reputation. It's throwing the book at someone else. And that is damaging someone with the 7 of Swords appearing on Candace's side. It's undermining someone's integrity. It's painting them as less than worthy. It's painting them as some crazy, deranged conspiracy theorist. It's like, is that worth it? Is that the hill you're going to die on? And there is truth to it, allegedly, but is that the hill you want to die on? Okay. Let's look. We're looking at outcome Hangman. Like there is, in terms of the outcome for this, that's what I was saying from the very beginning. We have a Hangman in terms of the outcome. It's like they will go and go and go and go is what I'm seeing. At this current point in time, things may change. But what I'm seeing with the 8 of Pentacles is that neither side wants to back down against this. They have intimidated the Macrons, allegedly, people in the past with this 5 of Wands. Notice that we have the 5 of Wands here. We had the 5 of Wands for the Macrons here as well. We have 2 5 of Wands. So when it comes to what I mentioned in the beginning, allegedly, about abuse of power, and about using your power to intimidate and silence people. In the past, this has worked for them, and we have the double confirmation of it in their energy. Like these are dragons going against and attacking people, right? So they have, used this in the past. They've won. So they're thinking, why not use with a page of wands a similar tactic again to handle this? What is this? Yeah, we got the death card again. We got the death card earlier. People are going to move on. There's something about it moving on from this. I would be surprised if this goes at the current point. I'll call this a current energy read. I'll be surprised if this goes to court and whether they don't just dead it and it peters out or something like that. Someone may be doing some traveling. Either the Macrons are coming over, or it could very well be like somebody is doing traveling either to prove a point or to negotiate or to do something along those lines. But with the hangman, it appears to be an outcome that we don't see coming, really. And I hate saying so, and I hate saying something like that, but because it's sort of a flippant comment to make. Let's dig into that actually. Let's dig into the hangman. So Spirit, that's God and angels, thank you for those messages. Let's dig into the hangman and what the I don't quite see. This is what I'm seeing. Candace could very well be right. I don't see it fully going in her favor. But at the same time, no one really wins from this. This is something. Is it going to court or is it going to adjudication, or is it like a court standing up in a courtroom, or is this something about behind closed doors and not the traditional courtroom that we know something to be? Like that's my question on this, because that's what's coming up. And if it comes up, there is a clear loser in this. Is the loser okay? And I don't really feel that the losers in this case would be the Macrons, but still, not because you lose a court case means you're actually wrong. Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. Three of Pentacles. Like, is there something of a deal that's going to be hammered out or something along those lines, and it doesn't actually go? Remember when Candace Owens was meant to take on who she left? Oh, I can't remember the name of the company. I'm seeing them. Oh, hang on. This is going to annoy me. So I was just watching one of their YouTube clips last night. So let me see if I could go into my history and find that one. Sure. With Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, yeah. You know when like Candace was meant to have a debate with Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire, and there was lots of back and forth, and each side increasing the ante, and then all of a sudden it just petered out and no one talked about it. It's as if it's something along those lines that I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is that that's going to be the best case scenario in terms of this. But there is someone who wants that best case scenario. And I believe it's the Macrons who want it. But having said that, with this high priest, because we have, I don't feel that they're going to get it. Okay. I don't see. Let's ask this question another way. So how is Candace Owens going to come out of this? Let's just see how she's going to come out of this. How's Candace Owens going to come out of this? It's like this is like a David and Goliath sort of battle. Ooh, yeah. That Three of Swords and that Two of Swords ain't good. Yeah. I've, yeah, this, sometimes you have to, and this is a matter of life as well. Sometimes you may be right and you may have a point, but sometimes you need to live to fight another day. You know, Three of Swords, in terms of how Candace comes out of this, a Three of Swords and a Hermit energy ain't the one. And with a Nine of Swords as well, and with a Five of Pentacles, and with a Four of Pentacles as well. This looks like financial damage and hardship and being extremely disappointed. And disappointed, interestingly, here by something you don't see coming. I want to preface this by I'm happy to be wrong. I don't really get anything wrong on this channel. Like, call out something that I've gotten wrong. I say that, and my spirit guides are saying that for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I said that Portia wasn't going to get married, and then she did. But to be fair, that marriage was even barely a year. But, they're telling me in my ear I got that wrong. So, but they're not bringing up anything else for me. But I don't see it going well for her if she continues and if it goes to, I don't know whether they call it arbitration, but it's as if it doesn't need to go in front of court. It could go in front of someone behind the scenes who is a judge and hears both sides, like a deposition or something along those lines, but it would be behind closed doors or something like that. Yeah. So what about the Macrons? So what would the outcome of this be for the Macrons? Page of Wands. This is much better energy from their part. Much better energy. There is something about, it's not the Macrons per se, but it's what they represent that would continue to be around. There's something of karma coming through here, but I don't really feel this is karma in the way this card intended it to be karma. I'm seeing this as people behind the veil, behind the shadows, fixing something so that they win, allegedly. People behind the veil, with this blacked out sun, is something happening behind what we could perceive, behind what we can understand. It's like there's a secret ceremony that's happening here between mountains, like a secret ceremony behind mountains with people behind the veil who really control things, who've been controlling things for centuries. They're giving me in my ear, and forgive me, even as far back as Atlantis. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's that sort of world she's going up against. Like, is that what you're prepared to die? The hell you're prepared to die on? Yeah. I'm sort of looking at my scribbles and my notes to get into the energy flow of this. And I'm just going to end with this. I have, so many times I free write. So I just close my eyes, focus on the issue, and then I just write what comes to me. And sometimes that's a form of channeling as well. Being right may not be enough. They're hoping she settles. The force is bigger than the Macrons. I have noted something about a ceremony happening in plain sight. And I have Icarus flying too. What is this ceremony happening in plain sight? What time am I on for this? 37. What's this ceremony happening in plain sight? Shadow side. And when I say a ceremony happening in plain sight, like I got shadow, and I'm talking about the Macrons here. So, we were talking about the veil and behind the veil, and I was just going to cut my deck to look into that. And we have the Fool energy here, and we have deception again. What is this ceremony in plain sight? They're bringing to me the image of a man who is a P word, and I think I watched this on. I didn't watch all of Candace's documentary, by the way. No, but there is something of someone being a P word, that a ceremony happening in plain sight. Oh my God, plain sight, and we have naked woman. Ceremony happening in plain sight. What's that about? The ceremony happening in plain sight. Okay, I got it. Hang on, just one more. So why are we as a collective, the ceremony happening in plain sight, and why are we as a collective observing this, are sort of intertwined? What they're showing me with this ceremony, could you guys see this? What they're showing me with this ceremony happening in plain sight, and we have the naked woman with the star, and we have the lovers here. There are different types. Okay, there are a number of messages. Firstly, there are different types of winning. Okay. So you may not win in the court of law, but then there's a court of public opinion, and then there's a court of people's perceptions, number one. Number two, even before this has gone to court, in terms of ceremony in plain sight, Candace, in a way, has already won. She's already won because by bringing out those allegations in and of themselves and having the Macrons, and again, we have the Knight of Wands before we have the Knight of Swords, and this represents the Macrons. It's like acting in, like not thinking things through. It's like taking action before they've thought things fully through. The Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands represents that. It's like the veil is dropping from people's eyes. That's the point of it. So irrespective of this going to trial and so on, just people's awareness on this being expanded, putting it in people's perspective to even consider that the president of France could potentially be a man and be with the two, again, of two genders. Just picturing that in and of itself, with the Four of Wands, is threatening. Four of Wands represents stability and our status quo and our perceptions. So this already is expanding our perceptions. It's what I do on this channel, like the purpose of my channel in terms of this. It's not a matter of predictions, whether I get it right or not. I always get things, more or less always get things right, thankfully, because of my guides and being in tune with them. But it's not about the right or the wrong. It's about us expanding our awareness, deepening our awareness, both vertically, horizontally, in the way we view the world and the way we perceive the world. It's tapping into ourselves to understand to connect with ourselves and to connect with our internal barometers. Is barometer the word? As to whether something is true or not. Instead of taking it wholesale from what externally we are being fed by the media or what people tell us. It's us tapping into our internal truth. This represents the status quo. So we're looking at these two lovers. This card is a dual meaning. We're looking at this couple. We accept it as a status quo. But behind this is deception. Behind the lovers was deception. Like what we are seeing and what we're perceiving, there's a deception element around it. So the fact that we could even begin in our perception to go to those places that we may not previously have gone, that is the battle won in and of itself. To see someone, like with the Page of Pentacles here, and interesting is a little black girl on this as well, and Candace is black, so it's all very interesting with the Page of Pentacles and the Strength. To watch someone put their livelihood, put their reputation on the line, a mother of three, to argue this point. The strength of character that takes in a world such as today, where we are so in our echo chambers and we're afraid of everything. We're afraid of reputational damage. We're afraid of being cancelled, where everyone is quick to point the finger at everyone, where you have someone who is standing up. And this is not just her, it's the Tucker Carlsons, it's the other people who, whether they are right or wrong, I'm not discussing that. I'm talking about people who are standing up for their truth as they perceive it and having the courage of those convictions. And it's not a matter, and when we have images like the star and the truth and so on, this is not the energy of someone doing it from a place of malice or just to get views or this. I'm not picking up that energy here at all in terms of like the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens and other people of that ilk who, put out their truth and their perspective, you know? So there is something in connecting with your inner truth, and there's something of having the courage of your convictions and the integrity to stand behind that. And so that is interesting as a collective, what we're learning from this situation. Also, what we're learning and developing and evolving and growing as well is the expansion of our awareness and the deepening of our awareness as well. So whether you agree with it or not, whether you think she's right or not, the fact that your mind is even beginning to go to the place as to whether she is male or whether she's female in and of itself, and you're not cavalierly dismissing it, but you're actually interested and pondering this over, the fact that your mind could even go there in of itself is the battle already won. So there is a 7, and that explains the 7 of Pentacles energy, because someone may not have won this round, but the seed has already been planted. Our eyes are opening more and more. The veil is beginning to drop. So Candace, in a way, has already won, because Candace has said this is bigger than her. This is bigger than just the Macrons and whether it's male and female. It's bigger than that. And she's right. Another thing I want to say at the end of it, and I'm at the end of this, and I may put a disclaimer to the front of this reading, and it's an important point. People are looking at their truth. And many times when we're looking at tarot as well, everyone would have their own individual truth, and then there is the truth also. Okay, so I am doing the reading from the perspective of what someone believes to be true. And what I'm picking up in Candace's energy is that there's no malice. From her doubling down, she is doubling down on what she believes to be true. So I'm doing this reading from the perspective of someone's truth. And also,